Hi CPUT students, welcome back to the second database Microsoft Access lesson in the series. Last lesson we took a look at some basic database theory and we took a look at the objects, the database and the objects within Microsoft Access. Today what I'm going to do is, if you have a look on Blackboard and we're going to post it on WhatsApp, is several sets of activities. So the first activity is to create an access table. The second one is as well, and so is the third one. Number 2 and number 3 you will attempt on your own. Number 1 I'm going to do together with you. I have already downloaded this and here is the activity. We took a brief look at it last week. So what I'm going to do is we are going to create this table in Microsoft Access and we are going to go through it step by step. So I'm going to highlight the steps as we go through them so that we're all on the same page. There we go. Step number 1, open Microsoft Access. You will need a computer or a laptop in order to do this, and the computer and the laptop or laptop will need to be installed with Microsoft Access 2007 onwards. Otherwise you will not be able to do this activity. So please be aware, find the resources as best you can so that you can do this activity. Right, step number 1, open Microsoft Access. You're going to have to find Microsoft Word, so I'm going to click on my Start menu. I'm going to go down to Microsoft Office and I have Access 2007 on here. I'm going to open Access 2007. And the first thing it asked us to create was a blank database. So under getting started, you will see there blank database. Does not seem to want to listen to me. Sorry, I'm looking here. Create. Right. What you are looking at here is a blank database, the large circle in the last lesson. I am going to close this table so that we have a blank database, and the database is called database 3. If you have a look at the questions, it actually should be named that. Very easy to rename the database. I will show, in fact we may as well do it now. Click on blank desktop database. We did that. Okay, to change the database name, there are various methods. I'm going to keep it simple by copying that name. I'm going to go back to my database and I am going to go File, Save As. I'm going to put this one on my desktop and let's give it the correct name. And I'm going to click on Save, and you will see there at the top we have created the basic database. On the left hand side here you can choose what you want to see. If you get any of these security warnings, please just enable them. At the moment we are looking at all access objects, and as you can see there is nothing there. The first thing we are going to create, if we look at the questions, is a table. So we have now named our database as per the instructions, and the next thing we need to do is to click on Create, and we will create a table. So I'm going to do that now. The table has a name and it's movie staff, because this table keeps a list of movie movie staff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to Access. I'm going to click on Create, and I just choose their table. Now if you have a look there, you will see its default name is Table 1. That is not what I want to do. So you can right click, rename. It's telling me I cannot rename something that is open, so I need to save it. I am right clicking. It's asking me for the name on my first save. And there we go, Table Movie Staff Details. I tell it OK, and there we will see on the left hand side the correct name of the table. Now what you are looking here, one of the things that we need to remember when working with Microsoft Access, we have two views. So I'm going to close this. I'm right clicking and closing it, so nothing is open at the moment. If you double click on your table and you right click here, you have two views. You have Design View, which is what we are working on, and you have Datasheet View, in which you will enter your data. I can change to Design View. Sorry, this is Datasheet View. My Design View and Datasheet View are different. Okay, in Design View, I am going to enter the information, or I'm going to design the table. My apologies. Right click, Datasheet View is where we are going to create our fields. So if we go and have a look at our table now, I'm going to be jumping backwards and forwards here. Let's go to the question. In the field name, we've clicked on Create. We've created our table. The next thing we need to do is in the field name, the data type and field properties, determine the appropriate field settings as below. And I've highlighted those three in different colors because there's three components to this question. In the field name, here's our field names. Data type field properties, we're going to look at that now. For example, branch is text, last name is text, first name will be text, email address will still be text, but the business phone number would be, for example, number. The first column, which is our primary key, would be number. So how do we do that? Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to move my database to my other screen so that we can carry on with this. The first section first one we have here is SKNMI, and I just pressed enter to add the second field, and my second field is branch. I'm going to keep going, enter, then we have last name, enter, then I have first name, enter, then I have email address, enter, once more I have job title, and finally I have the business phone. These are the fields that I have created. We're not quite finished with this. We need to swap to our design view. And you will actually have a look there. We're looking at it on its side. The first one is ID. I don't want that to be auto number. We don't particularly use auto number in this course. So I am going to change that to number. If we go and have a look at our information, they are saying determine the appropriate field settings per field as below. So all they are talking about is that would be number, text, 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 number. There's a little bit of a trick with the last one where we're actually going to store number as text. So what I'm going to do is, if you have a look at the field names, I created it in datasheet view intentionally to show you that that is not going to work. So my point is you need to create your table in design view. In datasheet view, that is actually a record. So I deliberately did this to show you that if you create it in datasheet view, it is not going to be correct. So I'm going to have to go to design view, and I'm going to have to put that information in here again. SKNMI. That is definitely text. How long would we like the text? I beg your pardon. This is SKNMI. SKNMI, and its number. Long integer is fine. The next one is branch. That will be text. How long is the name of the branch? Well, if we go and we have a look here, the branch is not very long, and it would not be longer than, say, 25 characters. So at the bottom here, when I click on branch and I click on the type of the information is text, we don't want to waste space in the database. So I'm just going to put in there 25 long. It won't allow me to put in more than 25 characters. The next one is last name. That can be text as well because that is correct. A last name will definitely not be 255. I would say 30 is a safe number. First name. Text. We can keep that at 30. What a database will do is if you leave it at 255, your database becomes very big because it will actually reserve 255 characters. Email address. Where it says field 5 there because we created it the wrong way to start with. Job title. So I've got SKNMI, branch, last name, first name, email address, job title, and finally business phone. You will always have an additional field here. You may safely ignore that. It is allowing you to add an additional field. You just type it in should you need it. If we go and have a look at this, we have our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 fields, including the first one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There we go. Don't be confused by that saying 7 there. I am going to right click here and save this. I am going to right click again and I'm going to choose Datasheet View. I need to delete this information because when we did it incorrectly, I'm going to have to go one by one. This is actually our first record. So under our first record, we are going to put our first person. You may ignore field 7 there. It is always going, the last field is always going to show up. So we have named our fields. Always right click Save. It's complaining that there is no primary key. Do you remember I mentioned a primary key could be an ID number or a student number? A record cannot exist without a primary key, so don't allow yourself to get stuck here. The first number record is number 1. If we go and have a look there, you will see it is number 1. So we are duplicating this. Then the branch, if we go and have a look at that, is SK Waterfront. So we will put it in SK. I am now storing my first record. So I've created my fields. I am now creating my first row, which is my first record. Last name, Freehafer. You are going to be jumping backwards and forward. It's Nancy. What we are doing is called data capturing, and it will be Nancy at SK. Her job title. Let's go and take a look at that. She is a sales representative. And finally on that record, I'm not going to create all of these records. I am doing one for you. Once you've done it once, you are able to just move on to the next row and create the next record. We might do 2. 0214461727. So 021461, if I recall it was 7275. And I'm going to press the tab button, which will take me to the next record. And the next record is number 2. And you are going to have to go and look at the information we've given you. It's NM Athlone. So I'm creating my second record, NM. That is the branch. I have to keep on going and looking at the information. Sensini Andrew. You can use your tab key to navigate through this. This would be Andrew at nmathlone.com. Let's go and have, I'm pressing the tab key. Let's go and have a look at the job title. He is Vice President of Sales. And then finally his phone number. So I'm on record number 2 here, and 0216972882. So we will put that in 021 97, double check it, 2882, 2882. And you can move on to your third record by pressing the tab key. I'm not going to capture them all. I've captured 2 records, which is adequate for our demonstration purposes. What you want to do is we right click and we save. Now if you have a look here, you will see some of the information is not displaying because it is longer than the column or field width. The easy way to fix this is to move your mouse between the 2 columns, double click. The second you get that little double arrow, I am just double clicking, and if you have a look, it has nicely auto-sized it to what we want to know. I can right click here and click on save. Please please recall the 2 views we work in are design view and datasheet view, where we put the information in. So we create the table in design view, text 30, and we will enter the information in datasheet view by using the tab key or clicking in the block to move from block to block. Please do not work top to bottom. You need to work left to right. You need to complete the first record or you will find yourself getting stuck. Please be aware of the primary key, and I'm going to right click and I'm going to choose their design view, and you will see there is a little key. I can highlight my column and I can take away that primary key. I can make the branch the primary key, and the key shows up there. Branch would be a very silly idea of a primary key because you could have 2 branches with the same name. You could have your primary key typically is a number, and it is typically a unique number. So I'm going to take away the primary key there. I'm going to click on SKNMI and I'm going to click their primary key, and my primary key is now our branch. As you note, at this point we have not done a second table or a relationship. That will come up within following lessons. I'm going to right click, save my table. I'm going to right click and close my table. There is my database with the database name, and there is my table with the table name. I double click on that object, that table object, and it will open in datasheet view. And we have stored now the records of 2 individuals that work for the movies company. One thing I would like to mention, if I go into design view, why have I made the business phone number text and not number? Sometimes we have to do that. If I swapped to my datasheet view, you will see there is components in here that are not numbers. The brackets are not numbers. So in this case uniquely, instead of choosing number because I've got the brackets in there, I have chosen to store that telephone number as text. That is generally perfectly acceptable. If you have a pure number, you need to store it as a number, as we did with our primary key. So I've created my table, I've saved my table, I've closed my table. I can close my database. If I have a look at my very messy desktop, it should be on here somewhere. I am going to go into this PC. I'm going to click on desktop. There he is. that is the entire database object. So you would go and find where you stored it, you would double click it, your database would open, enable when you get the security warning, otherwise you will not be able to work. You enable this content, the message will go away, and I can double click on my movie staff details and I can go there and continue to add records, which is what we would like you to do. Should I wish to create a second table, I simply go to create table. When you save it, I'm right clicking and I'm choosing save. I can put it here, movie and then I would have another table in there, movie staff salaries and hours. At the moment, if you have a look there, I have not created any fields. It starts with an auto ID, which I don't want. So I would close this table because I'm not using it. I would right click, I would choose design view, and you would go ahead and create your details of your second table. This is not part of this exercise, so I'm going to close it, and I'm actually going to right click here and I'm going to delete that table because that is not part of the exercises. That was just for demonstration purposes. So when you are finished with the activity, you will have a table that looks like this. Let's open it and see if what we have done matches. Table movie staff details, table movie staff details, and then we've captured record number 1 and we've captured record number 2. So if we go back to the instructions and recap, we opened Microsoft Access, we chose blank desktop database, which is the main database. We gave it a name. There it is. In the field names, we typed all of these fields in design view. It should have been done, and it should be done. We chose the data type, which is text or number. We chose the field properties, which was text 30 long for the names, and we basically determined the appropriate field settings. We assigned an appropriate ID key. We saved it on our desktop. And the final thing you would do is you would upload this to Blackboard so that your lecturer can receive it, or you can email it to your lecturer should your Blackboard not be working. We prefer Blackboard if it's at all possible. It is easier for us to mark. In any case, thanks students. It's basically that simple. There is nothing strange about it. We would like you to do this activity and create the first exercise, and we are available all the time for questions. Thank you for your time. Have a great